Right. This should do it now. I should be live again. There's something to do with that. I used this before I used the other, and I think that's why I didn't have any sound. But now for the third fucking time, I am going live here. Let me see if this works.
I didn't have any sound.
Yes.
But now for
All right,
the third
fine. Pause it. All right, good. All right. So I was saying how when it comes to bisexual identity or bisexual people, the first time I've ever heard the term bisexual was 1997. Remember, I worked at Papagino's and there was one girl who identified as bisexual. That was the first time I've ever heard of it. Later on in years, I identified as bisexual also, but everyone and their brothers started doing it. That's just the thing I noticed, is everyone and their brothers started doing it all the time. And it's like, the first time I heard about it happened to be this girl who was Italian. She was promiscuous, but she was pretty short. She worked at Papagino's with me. It's one of my first jobs that I've had. But most times than not, it's like ever since then, and I heard like the term bisexual being more common throughout the 2000s, that more people started identifying as bi. But to me, bisexual is more something that that is a label for straight people who only like just a small, tiny handful of people of the same sex, maybe. Either that, or it's a gateway to being gay or trans. But a lot of the people who identify are also, they're in that straight category, though. I would say a lot of them are in that straight category. And a lot of the women who are bisexual, to me, a lot of them have boyfriends, honestly. And they don't really cross that lesbian line too often that I have seen very much. They might have friends maybe that are girls, but they mostly marry men. So it's pretty much mostly a straight community in my eyes. That's pretty much how I see bisexuals. I don't think they're serious enough a lot of times. And, and whether I have been or not, that's just how I see things. I got someone going on Twitter, actually, when I wrote about it. Someone responded to me and said, someone from Austria. Does that sound familiar? Austria? Who's from Austria? Figure it out. Tells me that I am wrong and that you believe that let your biphobia show through. Biphobia? When I was once bisexual, or I thought I was, or whatever, I just don't use that word for it. Okay, I stopped using bi. Alright? And that you believe let your biphobia show through, someone says. Isn't it funny that half your takes and comments on bisexuals are just the same thing transphobes and homophobes say about trans and bi people? Someone said that. And so I see it. I don't think they're serious. I think a lot of them are just doing it for self-gratification is what I really think. They're calling themselves bisexual. This was discussed many times in the past, but then trans people came about after that. And but bisexual, a lot of people still identify as bisexual, but again, I see them more as straight people that might like a handful of people of the same sex, but they're really not, it's, I don't know. But as far as communities go, what community am I in? Okay, if I was going to be in a community of some kind, and I didn't feel the LGBTQ were embracing me, which a lot of them don't really seem to be. I'll tell you, I managed to be on the outskirts because I'm too fanatical for them too, it turns out. I'm too fanatical for even some of the left, I think. I'll tell you, from everything that I have been seeing, I'm pretty fanatical. And I think that more times than not, I'm probably not going to be connecting with the LGBTQ. I'd have to go to some kind of alternative community or something. But it's not really going to be the LGBTQ, I'll tell you that. I don't really see a future in that. I don't. I think the community's falling apart. And a lot of these people who've gone to gay bars or LGBT bars and shit like that, guess what? I was never really one of them, honestly. I was never really one of them. Despite the fact that I identify as trans, I don't go to gay bars. I don't go to trans bars. I don't go to any of those places. I go to regular places more. I don't really go to the enclaves. And plus, even if I wanted to, I really couldn't, because I'm too low income to live in their neighborhoods, typically. Because now the rich gays have invaded all the cities, or LGBT, whatever. The rich people have invaded all the cities now. So, and I even said to someone, like, you live midtown, right? Well, how does someone like me get to be included into all this if I don't have access to any of this? Is there any effort going on that can include people like me in it? If there isn't, then I'm not part of the community, as far as I'm concerned. They situate every fucking LGBT center in the center of town to where you can't even get to them. It's ridiculousness. You gotta pay to park just to go somewhere like that? Fuck that. They gotta put that stuff in the suburbs. And fuck what any narrow-minded bigot says, who is in the suburbs. They gotta be building more of that stuff in the suburbs. Because some of us don't really want to travel into downtown all the time. You know? I don't like downtowns as a rule. I don't like the parking set up in a lot of them. It's like for real. The difference is that some people will settle. I won't settle. I will challenge things enough. Someone even mentioned to me, someone who was like a conservative older person more, said to me they had gay friends when they grew up in San Francisco, and they used to go to gay bars, and it said to me that I don't get it, but a lot more people, it seems like, who live as trans or live as gay now or trans, they don't even go to the bars and stuff. Well, you're looking at one of them who doesn't. Right there, you're looking at someone who doesn't go really to any gay bars or any straight or any LGBT bars or whatever. You're looking at someone who doesn't go to any of those places. Right here, and thanks to some of your policies, you make it hard for people like me to be included in. Not for nothing, I always end up on the outskirts of every city, in neighborhoods I don't really fit into very often. But you make it that way, because you don't have programs to bring people like me closer to the action. You know? You really don't. Unless I want to drive in and deal with all that aggravation, then I'll just be giving money to a community that I don't even live in. That's really all I would end up doing anyway. I'd go there for a day, I would spend money, and I'd leave and probably not come back for a while. It's like, why? Why? I'm not going to be part of no paranormal community. I'm really not. But whatever community takes me in is the one that I'm going to be a part of. Because at this point, I'm having doubts. I really am about the trans community too. I'm having doubts about it. I really am. These people are not all my allies. They're really not. They're really all about themselves at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. They're really all about themselves. A lot of them are selfish. A lot of them beg for money. A lot of them, especially if they're prostitutes. I haven't even been going into that arena lately, but I went to some prostitute site just looking around before, right? and I was messaging them to see if they would set aside their aspirations for money to talk to someone who just might want to be friends with them, and none of them gave up any of that to me. They're some of the most selfish pieces of shit I think that I've come across, honestly. Some of the most selfish pieces of shit. And they're not helping the problem. They're really not. If they want to be so inclusive, then, well, I'm talking now about the person, but I'm just saying in general, I don't see a lot of help in the community. You know, they live there, they gentrify the whole fucking place, and they expect people who are poorer, who are in the LGBT, to go right to where they all are. No, it doesn't work that way. You gotta come to us too. You gotta come to us. You gotta come to the poor people and find them out yourselves. If you really want to get us all down there and living down there, you gotta do the work too. You gotta do the work. You got more money than me, don't you? You fell into a marriage pretty fucking soon while I didn't. You're living the life. You're able to get a transition going. You're able to change your parts, right? You're able to do all that with like 2 fucking years into your transition. 2 fucking years. As long as I've been doing it. As long as I've been doing it now. And even before that, it could have been a lot longer if I didn't go back in the closet for an amount of time. It could have been a lot longer. I could have been Lady Melton for like 12 years right now. Instead, I wasted time and energy on other shit. But at the same time, I guess it had to happen. But I'm just telling you now, I cannot trust people with the LGBT. I cannot put my life in their hands. I wish that I could, but I don't think that I friggin' can, honestly. These bisexuals aggravate me too now. They do. Because they're paraded around calling themselves bisexuals. And I did too. I mean, I'm not going to deny my role in that. I've done that myself too. But a lot of them do it, I think, for clout. I really think they do it for clout. And I've dropped that label. I don't even say that I'm bisexual. I say that I'm trans. And my pronouns are she, her, or third gender. That's it. That's it. I don't know why that's so difficult for some people to get. I really don't. I have enough fucking bigots to deal with in the real world. I don't need confusion and distractions coming from the communities that should be embracing me and that should be taking me in with open arms, because I'm going to end up taking it from you if you don't let me in. I'm going to end up some form rubbing it in your face when I'm all done, or taking it from you. Plain and simple. When this structure ends and everything ends, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But what if I have to become a cannibal warlord? What if I have to be? What if I literally have to get to the point where I have to devour human bodies and eat them? And eat people meat? What if it does come to that? I don't want it to come to that. I don't. I really don't. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's true. When you're so upset and you feel like you have nowhere to turn. You know, I wouldn't be out traveling the country like I'm doing if I had a set place. I'd be living like a rich person. I totally would be. You know, you think I want to be doing any of this? No, I fucking don't want to be doing any of this. Hell no, I don't want to be doing any of this. But no one's offering me a way out either. Other people get their way out. I don't. I get the shaft every fucking time I go out there and try. I get the shaft. I don't feel like living anymore. I really wish I did not live in this world anymore. It's such a depressing place. United Snakes of America is really what you should call it. United Snakes of America. That's what Americans are. A bunch of snakes. A bunch of fucking snakes is what America really is at the end of the day. I don't care who dislikes that comment. I really don't. At this point, I'm done. You know, things are not showing any signs of looking up. The LGBTQ community is shit. That's about going down. And then they wonder why they're losing their rights to everybody, right? They're wondering why the other side is winning and they're not, right? I mean, Christ. That's how you're going to be Christ. Yeah, of course you're going to lose every goddamn time. Of course. You know, a lot of trans people out there, they're e-begging. They're only looking at their own bottom line. And they're talking about how they came out to their families and their families don't accept them. That's the only worry that they had in their life. I mean, when they were male, I would think they had it all good for them, you know, at some point. But me, I had it bad my whole life. It didn't matter what side I was on. People found some way to hate me. Hi, Lydia AF, what's going on? People found some way to hate me no matter what side I was on. It never mattered. Honestly, it never did. They didn't like me because of the color of my skin or what I was. That's really the truth. I'm darker than them. That's just the fact of the matter. I'm darker than them. If they're blonde hair and blue eyes, they're going to get more opportunities by default. They really are. Hey, Josie, what's going on? Any news today? I saw what you said. There are LGBT political centers and liberal Republicans in Los Angeles that do Long Beach. But it also is very conflicting when you have these more liberal Republicans. They still support the very agenda that goes against their best interests, you know. But I think they're generally good people. I just think they're on the wrong side. That's what I think. But anyways, yeah. I'm not like all these people. They better get their heads out of their asses, or things are going to get worse right in front of us. There are tons of bigots, and I have enough of them. Now, see, this is what I want. I want to piss all the bigots off by putting LGBT centers and bars in the suburbs. Then I'd maybe go to them more. But they're all centered in city downtowns. And that's partially why I don't go to them. Or they should at least put them in any neighborhood so people have access to them of any income. It's become very classist there too. So you could say they're bigots in their own right too, and then you got the other bigots you gotta freaking deal with. The fucking rednecks that write you all the time. Because if I put a trans ad up for housing or anything, it gets flagged. It gets flagged if I put it up. It gets taken down. You know, so I have to say I'm a female, like I'm a genetic female. Then I have to get them in private and say I'm a trans person. Is that fine? I do a little bit of a switch on them. Because I have to do that. What other choice am I given? And then the bigotry just comes right out. They leave and they get scared off and all that shit. Like, you know, I used to be a big blue dog Democrat. Blue dog Democrats I see as conservative Democrats, so I don't see them in the same league as like the far left Democrats, really. But they didn't go to Trump necessarily either, though. They're kind of in that category of older white male Democrats, but they just didn't go to the Trump side and they didn't go far left, really. Either. I think Blue Dog Democrat probably describes a lot of people in America. I would say a lot of white men, maybe. If they're not of the white supremacist variety, they probably are more Blue Dog Democrat, I would say. I'd say like the more regular people you see around, maybe, could be Blue Dog Democrat. I'm just guessing. I think that's what it seems like to me, though, because they don't necessarily go to the Trump side, and they don't go far left either. So I would say they're more like that. More liberal and socialist as I get on. I just do not all this anti-war crap. Okay, that's fine. All right. Yeah, and that's how some people feel too, actually. I've seen. As crazy as it sounds, right? There should be more leftists doing, I think, what Mike Pillow is doing. You know? That's my opinion. I haven't followed this story about Mike Lindell or whatever. How now the people who wound him up have gotten more quieter and now he's the loud one. But the real racists are the ones in the background. They're laughing that they wound this guy up. Because they're like totally manipulating. You know? And stuff like that. But that's what they do. They get certain people out there who generally mean well, but they're the true believer variety of people. So they'll keep saying their opinions about how China hacked the election or something like that, or whatever, or the machines were hacked and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Or the conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. Now, do I believe Mike Lindell is a real racist? No, I don't. I just think he's opinionated with his beliefs on the election and all this other stuff. But nah, he's just more a goofy guy, a clown, you know, and he sells his product. That's more how I see him. He's more like the type of people that kind of I grew up around. Like some of my dad's friends were kind of like Mike Lindell, probably. Kind of like his personality was quite common in the Northeast, I would say. All right, Courtney, thanks for the $5 contribution. Courtney, $4.99. I'm just in a bad mood today. I'm discouraged. I'm moody. And that's all there is to it. Talking about everything, trying to get ahead in the world, and yeah, you get bounced back down again and again and again. So where does that leave me? Back here on my monetized channel ranting again. That's what it leaves me. At this point, I'll never leave with the way it's going. I'll never leave. I've tried to leave so many times. How did I come to realize I was trans? It just happened one day. Someone told me they thought that I had trans traits in me, and I kind of started questioning it myself. And I believed it to be true, you know, and stuff like that. I believed it to be true. And then it turns out I was living into it, and I found that an amount of it actually was true. It's just some of the other trans people aren't on board with me totally. Even when you try to get them on board with you, it's almost like you gotta sell yourself to them to get their attention. It's crazy. It's like you have to do all the work around them. Like if you want to just meet new trans friends who are more, you know, just to do something like that, you have to prove yourself to them almost. It's almost like you gotta sell yourself to them. You can't just show up and just say hi. I don't get it. It shouldn't be that way. It's gotten much more uppity since everything started. It's gotten much more uppity over the years. It really has. And now it's getting to the point where I'm hassling them on Twitter now. That's what I'm going to start to do. Yeah, exactly. And I feel to fight it, I might have to pick on people over there. You know, and just start some shit with them, because I'm really that upset. And I normally don't do that kind of thing, okay? But I'm so in a mood right now that I feel like doing that, you know? And anyways, yeah, I don't know what happened to it, but something's got to give. Something's got to give at some point. I still got some people, they claim to be LGBT, they live a nice life, they got a guy on their arm who encourages their decisions, their lifestyle, and they have that person. And then I see an example of this, and I'm like, all I'm going to do is, if I see that, I'm going to get jealous, because that person isn't going to uplift me in any way or get me to their level or close to it. So why should I be hanging around them? I might as well hang around the poor trans people, if I can find them anywhere. The others who are left out, the people of color in the trans movement who have also been left out as well, and stuff like that. But this whole bisexuality thing was big time. It was a distraction from the real thing, I felt. And a lot of people went with it. I'm sure a lot of people in here have identified as bisexual. I'm sure they have. You know, and that's okay if you do. But I think that for the most part, everyone and their brother started calling themselves bisexual, and it caused some kind of confusion. It wasn't a common thing in '97, and then it just kind of sprung up and became a very common thing all of a sudden in the 2000s. Well, that's just it. You know? Real friends do for each other without expecting anything in return, no agenda. Yeah. And also what I don't like is when people appear agreeable, right? But they still take frequent breaks away from you, not answering you. I think they're avoiding you, but they're not telling you they're avoiding you, but they make it seem like they gotta do some stuff and they'll be back, you know? But they're not really with you either at the same time. Fake designer bisexual, the Me. So you're talking about the Me Too movement? You're actually talking about the literal Me Too movement. I thought it was a feminist movement, Me Too. I thought that was a feminist movement. Now, Portland would have been the perfect metro to spread the LGBT to the suburbs. It would have been the perfect place to do that. But the people on the outskirts of Portland just did not want any bit of that. You know, and they didn't put it anywhere there. And they literally said they didn't even want any of that in their neighborhood over there. That could have been such a good area if only it spread out a little further. Because now what you only did was Portland became pretty much a right-leaning area, with just a few pockets of liberalness in it, but mostly a heavy right-leaning area. And you're paying all that money to live there. That's why I said you might as well just be in the South, or you might as well be in the Midwest than being there, because everything just got expensive there, and you're pretty much paying for like an overly right-wing area with few pockets of liberalness, but not but not as many as they like to make it sound. And no, Antifa is not all over the place there like they make it sound. They just block off a few streets a year or something. That's really all they do. In select parts of town, they do that. But they're not all over the place like the media makes it seem like. No, they're not. You remember gay men in the 1980s told me they felt like bisexual people were jazzing up the dating pool. They were competition. Yes, I gotcha. And gay people with original thoughts probably felt that way, actually. Yeah, they probably did. And I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, would I either date either men or women? Well, it's up to me whatever I do date, but I'm not going to use the term bisexual, whatever it is, you know. I'm not going to use the term bisexual if that's what you're trying to get me to do. I don't want to use that word anymore, you know. That was in West Hollywood. What was in West? Oh, yeah, well, I'm not surprised that would happen in Hollywood, actually. Because there are some pretty opinionated people in Hollywood. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually was said in Hollywood. I actually wouldn't be surprised at that one. So, for instance, you see people like Michelle Marie Delaney, okay? I'll just give her an example, okay? How many trans friends does Michelle Marie Delaney really have in real life? I don't think any, to be honest with you. That's an example of somebody who goes on YouTube, does her show every day, but I don't think she has any trans friends, and she's in New England. That's really telling right there. That's really telling. My home area, one of the most liberal parts of the United States of America, as she lives alone, she is alone there. It's something. And look at her, she's got like those ears, those pointy ears, and she talks to herself all the time. Do you want to be like that? No, you don't want to be like her either. That's the thing. So, but that's what I think this world did to someone like her. Turned her crazy like that. Because she was probably ostracized for a while. I think she just took it to the extreme and built and created a whole world in her head. And she has like this personality, like Lumi or something like that. I don't know, something like Lumi or whatever. I think she's got something else going on too. Then you got Pansy Gronsky. You got someone who wears a diaper. You got someone who wears a diaper but has a handler too. Then you have, who else do you have? Someone else other than Rosie. You know, classic liberals and fun. Yes, there are. Absolutely. Yeah, go to New Hampshire to find that. Or parts of Massachusetts even. Even in Massachusetts, there's still some of those people left. There are. You go out to those older rural towns, maybe. You got them. Yeah. Around Keene, New Hampshire? 100%. Keene, New Hampshire is like a total constitutionalist, right-leaning libertarian area for the most part, with Keene being a democratic city mostly. Let's just take not even the whole state of New Hampshire, but western New Hampshire on the Vermont border. It's very much like that, yeah. But they kind of got a little scene over there too between the two cities. They kind of have like a little scene going on. It's smaller, it's intimate. It's a pretty nice area to live in, I think. Over there, if you don't mind being a little isolated away from things, yeah, it's fine. If you're in Keene, New Hampshire, you hooked up enough there and you don't really have to leave, then it could go all right there for you, I suppose. You got Brattleboro not too far. You got some interesting communities around there and stuff. They have the freedom movement, the free Keene movement. That's actually, I went there for that actually, because I heard all about that. That intrigued me to go see Keene actually, because it had more. Would I ever go back to Mass to live? No, I wouldn't. The cigar shops in New Hampshire are more though. You got to go to New Hampshire if you want cigar shops for the most part. Providence, Rhode Island has one, but New Hampshire has the most, I would say. Massachusetts, there's a few of them toward Boston actually, but most of them are not. They don't have cigar shops in most of Mass. You're not gonna go deep into the city of Boston to find a good cigar bar. They have a few of them in Boston still, right in Boston, but most of the state they don't have them. It's kind of weird how the ones are right in Boston that are the best in Massachusetts, but throughout the state they don't really have too many, just in some of the other towns and stuff. Yeah, in Providence, that's a Democratic state too, and they have. I saw two main ones, something like Broadway Cigar. I know, I bet. I've seen two main ones in Providence. I think there might be like 3 or 4 there or something. I don't know about 30, but maybe 3 or 4. Usually, but I prefer a Mediterranean climate. I prefer. Yeah, New England folks. Yeah, I mean, us New England folks are pretty rigid, I'd say, in the beginning. We sound very tough and stuff when a lot of us talk, but beyond that, we're nicer people, yeah. If you can take the toughness on the outside of it, boy, yes. That's pretty much everyone when I grew up. When I grew up, that's pretty much how everyone was, you know? Like if people thought you were being stupid, they'd tell you were being stupid, you know? It was just like kind of one of those things. There's also an element of people there. They want to see winning, you know? They want to see everybody doing good, but they don't want to see you doing better than them, per se. But they want to see you doing good, though. Kind of thing. Kind of like what Ric Flair said, the people want to see you doing good, but they don't want to see that you're doing better than them. You know? Ric Flair said that one. I remember. Yeah, the Mediterranean climate is more present in California than it is anywhere in America, I would say. I'd say it's more present in California. You know, I guess the world's just going to go to hell, and you got to see what happens, you know? You got to see what happens with that. I mean, a trans activist ended up dying because of a suicide not long ago. So, things are really taking course. It's like, you would think this big defeat would mean people would be getting together more better, but no, they're really not. There's no real efforts to integrate us on the outside, going to a more downtown environment, really, in many cities in America now. Like, people complain about it, like, or they talk about, oh yeah, we have trans people living in the outskirts and not some of the greatest environments for them. Oh yeah, but they live out of the loop. It's like, But what is being done to bring them closer in? Not much. Trust me, I wish it was that way. I think there's more of an imbalance when people are out of their neighborhoods or their natural neighborhoods. I think that there's an imbalance. It's almost like the black community moving to the white suburbs. It's almost the same thing. Their kids are not going to fit in when they go to the schools very often, or they're going to be a token student. They're going to be what they call a token Negro, is what they're going to be when they move to the suburbs. And if they're not really going along with that, then they'll just be ostracized, plain and simple. You know? But when everyone's out of their own neighborhoods, it creates an imbalance, is what it does. But at the same time, I don't see any real efforts to bring people back to their neighborhoods. It's kind of like what black people were talking about when they got gentrified out of their neighborhoods, where maybe there might have been a program to get some of them back into the neighborhood or something like that. As a nicer neighborhood, but it would be subsidized to bring some of the old residents back or something. Why can't they do that with the trans community? Why can't they do that there? Because you got so many people living in areas that they don't belong in. Like Joni, for instance. You know what I mean? You got so many people that are just... Mr. J's, okay. 10,000 plus truckers on the... Yeah, that's nonsense, Karen. I don't like that shit. Those truckers are so obnoxious, you know? They really are. But if they're going to break the system, by all means, if they're going to break the system, and that's the only way that it can be done, fine. They're just going to be idiots, and they're going to crash this country, is what they're going to do. So, hey, it's already a broken system. There's no need to really... Karen's old man, I got a question for you, right? Do you think it's a better idea that the system is crashing? I think it kind of is, to be honest with you. Now that it's actually happening, I'm still saying I think it's still good. Because otherwise, you're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on everything. You know, the trans neighborhood exists in North Hollywood. So what do they do in that trans community? Do they help bring poorer residents into the core of the neighborhood, though? So they have access to everything and all that. Do they make efforts over there to bring poorer trans people closer to the centers? If they're doing that, then that would be a good thing, actually. If they're doing that, I'd have to look into that a little bit more, actually. Maybe I'll be like Molasses Murphy. Maybe I'll friggin' go to California. Who the fuck knows? Nah, probably not, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like... So if you know anything, like, what are they doing over there about any of that stuff, you know? Are they kind of making it so they can make it easier for people to move in or back in? How are you going to do that, Molasses? How are you going to put me up in a place over there? I've had so many people tell me that they could do that, and it's never happened, you know? Carolyn claims she wants to put me up in Nashua too, but that's not happening. I'll tell you that right now. More affordable in Long Beach, California. Okay. You got a couch, really? Huh. Okay. More affordable in Long Beach, California, huh? So it's pretty much based on where it's more affordable then. Not really bringing... or setting up programs to bring people into the more expensive neighborhoods from a poorer neighborhood kind of thing. All these things I wish would happen, but they never seem to really happen. It's just all idealism. Nothing really ends up happening at the end of it all. Well, I will say this, Molasses. I'm halfway in the middle of the country right now. I'm not on any coast, and I set it up that way by design. So if I had to go in either direction, I could. You know, it's actually, in some ways, that's how the middle does have benefits, actually. At least location-wise. You might not have a beach near you, but you're still getting that benefit of being halfway between one side and the next. So, the rents are coming down here. It is, isn't it? Because people are leaving, so it is affecting the rents, right? It is affecting the rents there, then, correct? It's getting cheaper over there because people are leaving, right? But who knows? Maybe in a weird kind of way, it's going to bring the right people there. It might just bring the right people there in the end. And then I'm really starting to think, like, why have I been tinkering around in the South and all these other places, you know? Guess I was chasing what looked to be affordable. But they absolutely have no programs in those states. They don't have any programs in South Carolina. They don't have any programs in Florida. You're only going for what is the perceived cheaper price tag to live there. That's all you're really going there for. There's really no perceived, which means it isn't really. It's that way to get you in the door, though. Like where Mark Terry lives, you think that place is really cheap? Not really. It'll end up running you more than you would ever think it would, actually. So yeah, you're tracking all this for 4 years now, and it's, how about Sacramento? Is Sacramento getting cheaper? That's my question. If Sacramento was getting cheaper, that would be cool. You know? Wonder if that's actually getting cheaper now. So I have a little history in Sacramento. I stopped there at one point in time. Why is it so fast? I was always under the impression Section 8 was a long time in California. There's tons of people on that stuff over there, though. So Sacramento's the same price as LA now? Is that what you're saying? It's equaled out in cost? This is all useful stuff to know. This is all useful stuff to know right here. Because I don't think Sacramento is really that cheap, but at the same time, that's it. So Sacramento could be more expensive than south of there, right? It might actually be more expensive in Sacramento now, right? I wouldn't be surprised at that turnout either. Actually, I wouldn't be. Sacramento was up and coming enough, and enough people went there, so now it's like full, I think. Sacramento's pretty full. I mean, Roseville, that's like a total indication of how full that area was. I went out there, I was like, yeah. This place is getting pretty full. So would you say that Sacramento's more money than the other cities right now? Because that would be a very interesting turn of events if it was. If they are now the most expensive city in California. That means LA is probably facing the most relief right now, is what it's probably saying. It's very non-judgmental type of culture, rather affordable. Sticks and allergy meds. I looked at that before though, but Las Vegas is too much like Florida. That's the only problem with that. It's transient nature. I don't want to go to Las Vegas, dude. I don't think I'm interested in that, honestly. I don't think I'm interested in that. What, Sacramento, you saying not yet is the most expensive city in California? No, not yet to that? Or not yet to what? It would really help if I had a phone conversation about all this stuff. You know, it really would. This way I could hear another voice on the line. I hate everything being about text. I want more shit to be about phone calls. You know? I don't care for this. Is anyone still in here? Hello? LA rents are still coming down, Long Beach and San. Exactly, so Sacramento is the most expensive city in California then, right? That's not cheap no more. I know that for a fact. Sacramento is growing while the other places are declining. LA rents are still coming down. San Pedro. Long Beach is still cheap over there. Still cheaper over there. I thought that they would have been expensive by now. I bet you it's cheaper than St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm sure St. Petersburg and Sacramento are more expensive than Long Beach. I'm sure they are right now. I'm sure they are. Things really took a turn of events. Enough people moved to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be more expensive very soon than Los Angeles. That's going to be going right through the roof in no time, if it already hasn't. It's almost like things are rearing their ugly heads, you know? Florida is terribly overpriced, yes. It's terribly overpriced. Yep. People only went there because it was cheap. When it becomes too much money, you know what they're going to do? They're going to leave. Or they're going to realize they're stuck when they want to get out. That's what's going to happen. They're going to realize they're stuck and they overpaid for a property there. And it's going to go down eventually. They're going to realize that because if Florida is so expensive, why would you end up going there if you could go somewhere else? The only reason why people were attracted to Florida because it was cheaper at one time. That's really why. When California got overpriced. Funny how things are taking a reverse. Now Southern California is dropping in price slowly. That's something. If it does, I might just go there and live one day. If it actually does drop, I could. Who knows? That would be funny as hell if it did. Alright, well, I'm going to take a break. I mean, I might come back later. I'm kind of breaking up my streams tonight. If you want to come back later and talk, maybe I will be back on again. I don't know, but I'm going to cut it right now. LA has Armenians, Russians, a large Jewish community, Asians, Mexicans, a few waspy dudes left. Yeah, that's fine. They're still diverse, yeah. I mean, they're still diverse over there, yeah. Still pretty diverse place to be, you know. Oh, they do? But so does Omaha, too. Omaha has a Little Italy over here. I found out some time ago. You know why I'm in Omaha, though? Because they have some semblance of an indie scene left. That's what really attracted me about here to begin with. And Warren Buffett too. Heard all about him. It'd be funny now if I was in the Midwest and then I ended up going west like they did in the old days, you know. I don't think I'm going back east ever again. I just don't think I'm going to be living back east ever again. Especially since it's my own journey and I did it myself. I didn't go on an airplane to get from coast to coast this time. I drove much of the way. So now that I actually drove a car across the country, a truck across the country, I don't think I'm meant to go back east again. It's almost like if you take the long way there, you're not going to just drive back. You know what I'm saying? How many times can you drive across the country like that and move your stuff? How many times are you going to do it back? How many times? If you do it yourself and you cart all your stuff on road, then you're probably going to be out west for good. That's probably a safe bet. You're going to either be in the middle or you're going to be to the left coast. Because I don't see, even though my father lives in Massachusetts, I don't see myself ever moving back there again. Even if I have to settle issues over there with this house one day, I don't see myself living there ever again. I just don't. Plus, my mom sold her house down the Cape recently, so she's not going back there. That's not even going to be a backup house for in case Oregon goes bad, I guess. She ended up selling it, it turns out. So going back east is not even going to happen, I don't feel. I don't think things are going in that direction, honestly. I think they're going back with me going more west is what I think's happening. Or I'm going to be either in the middle or I'm going to go more west. It's going to either be here or it's going to be more west. California is like living in a different country. Yes, it is. And it's a culture shock if you have not ever done it before. It is a culture shock to be in California, yes. It sure is. And I wasn't even in LA area. I was in Sacramento. And it was still kind of a culture shock. Honestly. When I have not been there before. They have what's that grocery store called? Stop. What is it called? I forget the name of it. I forget the name of all of them, actually. No. It's somebody though. It might be Ralph's. I don't know. It's got red writing though. Maybe. I know there's Grocery Outlet and I know that there's Wigco Foods. I know there's those. But there's some other place. I don't know if it's Ralph's or not. I don't think so. Right, but you never moved back there. Yeah, it's crazy how that is. It's like you never, like a lot of people, they just don't go back once they trek their own journey out there. Yeah, they don't go back, you know. They usually don't. Trader Joe's, I know Trader Joe's, yeah, of course. Ralph's. I'd like to say, I don't think it's Ralph's though. It's got... Save Mart is what? Save Mart. That's it. Save Mart. That's one of them. I don't like Safeway, though. I do not like Safeway. I'm going to make that totally clear right now. Not a Safeway fan. Albertsons I like. I like Albertsons. I like Albertsons. Funny. Because Velada's was a Mexican buffet in Florida. In the Tampa area. Velada's, they call it. You know. Aldi's is owned by Trader Joe's. Actually. Yeah, Safeway sucks. They're just not, they bought out Albertsons. Any changes to Albertsons since they did that? Any? A lot of the poor Latinos have moved since the rise. So where have these poor Latinos gone? The Southeast? They left and moved east, didn't they? They moved to Florida. They moved to South Carolina, correct? That's where these California Latinos moved to. Is my guess. I doubt it. Because why are so many people still speaking Spanish in this country? Why? There's not that many, I don't think. How about Columbia, South Carolina? What about there? I'm sure some of them went there, didn't they? So there's a migration east happening for Mexicans, don't you think? Don't you think they're moving east now, a lot of them? Good chance that a lot of the Hispanic community is moving east. What do you think? Good chance? Like there's people trading places almost, right? Is that right or wrong? Javi and Cholos, they moved to Florida. Is what they did. They moved to Florida. Why? Why should I keep that quiet exactly? Tell me why I should. This is all interesting stuff. I like to know where people go. So why? What if that word gets out? What will happen? Why is it such a secret? Because California, they wanted to get rid of their cholos. Is that correct? They wanted to get rid of their... Yeah, that's probably what's going on. They're going to the Southeast, though. They're going to Texas. They're going to the Carolinas. So that's why the Mexican food improved in South Carolina, right? That's why the Mexican food tasted as good as if it was in the Southwest, correct? Because South Carolina now, there's Mexican restaurants that are really good there now, it turns out. Because I went to one when I was there. Maybe they did move their stuff with them. Because we don't want too many motherfuckers moving here, just cool people. So California's really taking action to get people out of there now? They're really doing that? They're taking the most action to eliminate these people? And they're actually bringing in the people that they want? So I would be welcomed in the new California, really? I would be. I'll go if I am. I mean, hey. I'll really think about it at least. Mostly Mexicans in out pork, beef, turkey, and chicken processing. Yeah, they work factory jobs. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, the conservative Mexican immigrants are moving to the South now because their views are more in line with that, you know? The traditional South, you could say. So California getting rid of them could have actually been a gain for them. It absolutely could have been. Because Florida once had the people like you were describing. But it looks like they're going back to California now, maybe. If so, hey. You just used all the homeless vagrants to scare the crap out of you. You think so? Oh, but scared them away, didn't it? So what's going to happen? The homeless vagrants are going to leave once the Mexicans leave or something? They're going to just pick up and go? But what about Portland? Explain it in Portland and Seattle. Did that scare the Mexicans away there too? Were they aiming to do that up there? I don't know about that one. To be honest with you. They might have did that to... They probably did that to scare the conservatives away up in the Northwest. They probably did that to scare the conservatives away up there, wouldn't you say? Because I don't think they really paid too much attention to the Mexican community in Oregon, really. I think they did that just to scare the people away they didn't want. Is what I think they did in Oregon, at least. In Washington. Right. So, but I think that they wanted to scare away the conservatives, though. Assuming it's a liberal area, right? Wouldn't that be the proper aim, to scare the conservatives off? And make it a more welcoming place, maybe, for people of color and liberals? I think that was their aim, kind of, in doing that, maybe. Now that you say it. But in LA, supposedly, they scared the Mexicans away by setting up homeless tents. Supposedly. U-Hauls everywhere in the San Fernando, 2 straight years, vacancies everywhere. What? And they were mostly Mexicans leaving. Huh. Funny. Totally. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Mexicans were just skipping Florida altogether and they went to the Carolinas. That I would not be surprised at also, at least in more recent times. So she was a crazy elite. Your mother was a crazy elite. Huh. Funny. Funny. Now, what happened to some of the skinhead groups that are in California? Are they still around? The neo-Nazis and all that, they still up in California? Or did they kind of morph themselves into another identity? Or are they still the same? Do they have the same uniforms? Do they have the same groups? Do you know anything about that? Yeah, so essentially Nazis control California is what you're saying. Interesting, yeah. Amongst brothers for her, huh? Yeah, I got a question for you. What do you think about Santa Rosa? Crappy place, isn't it? Would you recommend Santa Rosa at all, Karen's old man? My impressions of Santa Rosa, I'm going to tell you right now, are not that good from everything I've seen or heard about it. Yeah, it is. Just like I said, Sherwood, Oregon is Hitler's fucking wet dream. Sherwood, Oregon, where I friggin' was. Hitler would have loved Sherwood, Oregon. I'll tell you why. It was like all white. It was all white. It was pretty much clean looking. They tried to make it as perfect looking as they could, even though some people lit it. It was all teenagers in that town for the most part, and young people. It was young people too. And Hitler liked the young people, didn't he? He liked the young people that were right thinking. Okay, parents in their 30s with younger kids and shit. That's very Hitler-like, ain't it? That's a very Hitler-like community, isn't it? Sherwood, Oregon, outside of Portland. Young families with babies, practically, in most households. And if that's what he liked, that felt pretty oppressive, actually. It felt pretty oppressive being there. Because everyone was my age or younger, and I didn't really have anything in common with them because I didn't have children, you know? And some of the people looked like they could have even leaned left too, believe it or not. They just had children and stuff. They were like maybe the post-city types, maybe. They became suburban, but at a more younger age, in their 30s, because in their teens and 20s, maybe, they were doing the city life. And then they have kids in the suburbs by the time they're 30-something, however they can afford it. They probably have rich parents or something, you know, or whatever the case may be. But that community, Sherwood, it was all like younger couples and young kids. It was crazy. Most of the town was like that, with parks everywhere, and all the federal people that don't like the federal government ran out to Oregon. That's right, they did. But they also brought racism with them too, though. Even though Oregon was supposed to be a place where people would not get discriminated for their beliefs. It was supposed to be a place where all religions could have lived, but there's still a dominating one who's still trying to push their way in, which I think was the Mormons. The Mormons are pretty strongly influenced in Oregon. Actually, a lot of them over there. Besides Utah, I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon had the most Mormons. Look at Danny Ainge. He's from friggin' Eugene, Oregon, and he's a Mormon. He's like one of the known ones who made it famous. I think outside of Utah, I think Oregon's got the most Mormons. I really do. That's why you never really had any Italian influence up there or anywhere like that, because it was never like really Catholic or anything like that. Yeah, he did it the way that he studied how they did it. Yes, you're right. And 34 years of living also. Yeah, probably. More than likely. All the people don't. Yeah. Now, I haven't seen anywhere in the Omaha area that I can say thus far would be like Hitler's wet dream, per se. Because they don't really have things set up like that mentally. They don't have that mindset out here, really. Even though it's mostly white folks, they don't really have that mindset a bit more. And the rednecks are just too conservative. They're just stupid, you know, and narrow-minded. But I don't think they have anything like that going on, really. Unless maybe it's applied through the Cornhusker culture, maybe. That's the only thing that I can really see. Where they have like a strong community feeling about, maybe. It's mostly white fans of the team and whatever. Maybe something like that, perhaps. A lot of the 1%ers, real bikers, racial motherfuckers, left and right, yeah, California. 1930s had brown shirts in LA. Okay. I didn't think they had that in the 30s there. But Oregon in the 20s had the Ku Klux Klan, and they looked like the feminists look today. And they were in the Oregon Ku Klux Klan, and you have like the women there, they looked like today's feminists in Oregon. A lot of them had the thick glasses, the same look. It was actually funny. I saw pictures of like the 20s Oregon Klan. What I managed to get, Rockies Irishman from the Dust Bowl came to the Central Valley. In Sacramento too. I don't like Oklahoma. How about people from Nebraska? Any history of people from Nebraska moving to California? Because I hear about Oklahoma, but what about Nebraska? Very interesting to find out. You know what I got? For $6.72. You know what I got yesterday? I still have it with me here. A piece of smoked salmon. I got a piece of smoked salmon right here. Speaking of Oregon, they have smoked salmon here. The expiration date is the 17th on this. It's the 17th, and today is, well, this is good till the 17th, right here. Piece of smoked salmon, right there. Huh. I get that once in a great while. I'll get a piece of smoked salmon, maybe. Oh, really? Yeah, it's German influence. Yeah, it is. Come to think about it, it is German. For the most part. But you know what? There's a lot of influence. There's Italian influence in Nebraska. Can you believe it? There's like pizza everywhere here. You would have never guessed that Nebraska would have a lot of pizza, would you? Would you ever guess that you could get a nice slice of pizza in a gas station here? That you could get even supermarket pizza made right there? Where you can get a slice right there at a supermarket? It's actually pretty good. It goes for like $2 or something. Then this gas station has that pizza, that Casey's, the one that I got when I was stopping in the middle of the trip or whatever in Iowa there. And I got that slice of pizza and stuff. This will just be yourself in California. No theories of anything. They are. Except Auburn. Auburn is not non-judgmental. Auburn is where all the racists live. Auburn and Grass Valley. Well, Grass Valley a little better. But Auburn is not the place to go. I'll tell you that. I would say Auburn got a little better maybe, but I would say Auburn's roots are not. Yeah, when you go up to that Jefferson area, it's really not that good, I don't think, in that way. You go up to Weed and places like that. Yeah. Jefferson, Auburn, Venetian what? Venetian hotel? Venetian what? A church? Because that would be interesting if they have a Venetian something over there. I really would. A Venetian what? But yeah, this place is pretty pizza influenced. You wouldn't think so, but it is. There's like a few long-standing pizza places that are in Omaha. Yes, I am. But what's Venetian in Omaha? Me? Are you talking about me? Because I thought you meant something else, too. I thought that there was something else there, possibly. But it might have been. I didn't know what you were trying to tell me there. Okay, good. Alright. You know what's interesting? A lot of Sicilians don't consider themselves Italians. They don't. A lot of Sicilians actually don't consider themselves Italians. You know what I'm going to have more of? Pineapple juice, folks. I've been hooked on pineapple juice. I got this Hy-Vee pineapple juice. 100% juice, $3.99. It's just as good, if not better, than the main name brand right here. This is good stuff. I'll be back in a second. What's this? Think they live in a separate country? Yeah, they do. I didn't like that way of thinking, really, sometimes. They thought they did. I don't know if that's good or bad, though, sometimes. Maybe it would look good to me right now at this point in time, but back then, I don't know, it didn't look that great to me when it was that way, per se. But they do. They think they are in a separate country. You're right. I thought they could have been something like Canada, maybe, or something. They could have been more like Canada or something with the way they thought they were a different country or whatever. Walter White, really? Does that have videos on it? I got this stuff here, speaking of Trader Joe's, right? Trader Joe's dark chocolate, 73% cacao, super dark. You learned via observation how to avoid property from you. Really? You're gonna mix all of our styles supposedly to make a video? Is that what you're saying? Right here? Huh. But no, since I don't see Massachusetts as an option in the future, really, I might end up. It'd be weird if LA ended up being more of an option. Right, Simon, thanks for coming in. What do we got here? Anderson Henderson was live earlier.
Yo, what's up? It's Anderson. One who was lost and found, just like you have a bunch of fancy looking knives. You're out here making.
No, don't talk about it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, definitely the East Coast and West Coast had two different styles, and believe it or not, both.
Oh, funny they're talking about that.
They got the style from
Let's
the West
listen.
Coast. Their music was all based
Yeah.
on the West Coast. You know,
Right, and all my shit is based on the East Coast, like the underground and like, you know, Jay-Z, Biggie, fucking Nas, and all those guys.
right. Oh, definitely. And I liked a lot of those guys' songs too, but they were never my favorite.
I'm
I
really
like
sure
that
they even
slower
talked about
kind of
this.
G-funk. And then you got Jasmine, who listens to just pure trash down
We're
south.
talking about the
Like
East
most
Coast and the West Coast and here too.
But occasionally, Lil Wayne. Occasionally.
See how in some ways me and Anderson think alike? And I didn't even watch his show earlier. And I talked about this same thing in here with you.
Occasionally, Lil Wayne has a great song. Occasionally, 3-6 Mafia had a great song, but that was never my cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Dirty South, bro. Rappers.
I mean, it's hard to be a good rapper.
Hollywood is
but not
rather
when you're.
transient.
I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like East Coast and West Coast rappers, like straight up, like Cali side rappers and New York side rappers, are just, they're just, they're better, dude. They're just better than the Midwestern or Southern rappers, bro. I don't know. They have more skill set, I think. More work.
New York and LA, those are the two biggest hot points for all the biggest entertainers, so that's where they probably got the most talent. That basically shaped all of rap music in this whole country for a long time.
Yeah,
you had
you only
guys
have
popping
a
up.
few. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh my god.
Oh, no,
Someone says Slingshot Warriors trespassed from the truck stop for harassing hookers. What the fuck?
you just had a bunch of guys later on popping up in Canada and other random places in their closets, their mom's closet, and they were also becoming big rappers.
Yeah, like Juvenile. Remember Juvenile? Did you like Juvenile?
Yeah, I'm sure. What were some of the songs by Juvenile?
They did that Haze. They did that song where everything he said, the hey at the end of it, whatever. That's the masterpiece.
I'd chase the music scene when I go somewhere. Or what there is for alternative culture I look for.
That was it. Remember that shit?
I know the guy's name.
There's two things I'm drawn to when I go somewhere. Historically, it's been this way with me. Movements in music. Omaha, Nebraska had an indie scene at one point. And they still got a little of it left, I think. Two big acts came out of here. Bright Eyes and Rilo Kiley came out of here. Bigger than anybody in Portland, actually. So go figure, it came from here of all places. Southern Italy. Alright. So Central California is like Venice more than like Sacramento. If you want to look at California like Italy, I suppose. And Sacramento is a little bit more like my region of Italy. Funny thing is, the Italians over there, it seemed like they were less Sicilian also. Well, I was in Sacramento. They were Italians, but I don't think they were Sicilians, honestly.
I forgot what his name is, though. Juvenile, yeah. That was yeah. There was another guy who did that same shit, though. He was a big rapper. I forgot his name.
Well, Master P went, like he was taking a shit all the time. That's his Master P.
Hey, what about Busta Rhymes? Remember that?
Busta Rhymes is fire, dude. Busta's probably one of my favorite mainstream rappers, dude.
Well,
Right.
Man,
It is.
he's underrated.
Well, Sacramento still is
His
that way,
talent
too,
is
yes.
underrated. Like, his beats are people focus more on his beats than his actual rhymes.
You know the kind of music that fits the Sacramento area, like the suburbs of Sacramento, maybe East Sacramento into the suburbs? You know the kind of music I think that fits over there? Is stuff like the Traveling Wilburys kind of fits that area. If you want my opinion. If you're listening to the Traveling Wilburys, it kind of fits going through Rancho Cordova, maybe not Rancho, but maybe like Citrus Heights or something over there. I could kind of see that fitting in well, like if you're taking a drive or something, Cake! Yes! Cake is another one that's good too. Full of talent. Cake. You know Cake. Good, good, good. Sacramento had Pipe Down also. They were a hardcore band. Pipe Down, they called themselves.
You know what I mean? So,
What do you mean? Oh, you
like,
mean
I think
Yeah, the
Busta
Travel
Rhymes,
Wilburys.
I
Yeah.
think Busta Rhymes is extremely talented and lyrically
I'm
talented.
so tired of being lonely. I still have some love to give. Don't you show me that you will. Everybody has somebody to lead on. Put your body next to mine and dream on. Beck is from Long Beach? I would have thought Seattle myself. Maybe Austin. I wouldn't have thought Long Beach though.
But people focus more
Roy
on the beats, 'cause
Orbison.
he always has these like outrageous, like badass beats. You know,
You're George Harrison and then
it
Roy
really takes away from
Orbison.
the actual talent
I'm
of
so
somebody who has
tired
beats
of
like
being
that.
lonely.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it adds to it too, but you know, it works both ways. But you know,
Not really.
That as a hard
No.
rap song. So what's like
oh
your
yeah,
favorite
girl,
rap
you
song
look good
of all
in the
time?
Baghdad. Yeah.
I'm not really too into meeting YouTubers. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've learned that YouTube isn't really a place where you meet people in real life very often. I know people have done it, but I just don't think I'm ever gonna meet a YouTuber in real life. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Carolyn, what is wrong with you? Carolyn, you are such a traitor. It's not even funny. God damn. Even if it's for show, still. It's fuckery, Carolyn. Not for nothing. You will find me again. Well, go right ahead. Find me. Where am I right now? Huh? You loser. Fuck off, prick. You little puke. You little puke. Huh? You little fucking puke. You puke. Keyboard warrior, you fucking puke. Fuck off.
So what's your favorite rap song?
Carolyn, it's clear you think all this is hilarious,
Oh, man,
okay?
that's a tough question.
And I laughed a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, she's crazy.
It depends on what genre, like what.
Carolyn is
where we're
totally
talking here,
fucking
like
crazy.
underground rap,
Out of her head.
mainstream rap. Because if I say like nonfiction,
You
black
take
hell
pride
rap
in
is
that.
my
I know
favorite
you
song,
take pride in
My favorite rap song. People that only know they don't know the underground might be like, "What the fuck is that?" But that's like my favorite underground song. I put Wingstar onto it. She loves it.
I'm just listening to Anderson right now.
Big
His
Pun,
show earlier. I
You know,
didn't
like,
watch
these
it.
People were all fucking like extremely talented rappers, bro.
See, Anderson and I, it seems like his show and mine, sometimes me and him talk about the same things. And me and him talk about the same things, and I don't even have to watch what he's even doing. And I was just talking about the West Coast and the East Coast to Karen's old man right there. And they're talking about West Coast and East Coast rappers over there, which I find kind of funny.
I always. Have you seen a mailman like that?
I have, bro. I live in Florida.
You didn't think that's been... No, it wasn't. It was very un-American behavior. Yeah, exactly. Who the hell does shit like that? I had so many sock accounts. Even those keyboard warrior people, they're not American thinking at all. They're very, what I would call, like, terrorists from overseas. They're probably overseas terrorists is what they probably are. I don't think keyboard warriors from America. I don't think any of these people are. These people with these accounts, they're in the Boit, but they're foreign. They're probably from Eastern European or something. They're probably Eastern Europeans. That's what I'm thinking they are. They're probably from places like, not Bosnia. But they're probably from like the Russian areas, somewhere over there. But no, those accounts, they're not Americans. I'm sure of that. And then Dr. Dre, and then Anderson Ripper. Do you think they're Americans living in the basement? That's what you're thinking, Hermit? Really? There's a chance. Remember there was that guy, he was from Russia that I talked to, I think. At one point he was from Russia. Bell, he started with a B. His name started with a B or something. I don't know. It's a new feature. Well, they're going to be found out if it continues, because they're making it easier to find the trolls, and they're not going to be here anymore once they're found out. That's the bottom line. They are not going to be. They're not going to have things easy for them anymore. They're going to have to leave. It's going to be made easier for the people who want to find them, is what it's going to do now.
They're like, dudes,
exposed, trolls, exposed.
He doesn't shave or anything, and he's always like, he's like skinny.
You can't be funny. None of you can be funny.
And he had a stool with his name on it, signed, like he used to hang out.
Oh, boy, by this. Only so much talk you can hear about that.
Definitely not a young guy.
You can't really live this. According to Elvis, Tijuana is safe. According to Elvis, Tijuana doesn't have any crime anymore. Do you think it has less, maybe? It still might have crime, but do you think it's got less? I'd say it's got less, myself.
Yeah, the slingshot, he's almost 50, actually, I think. Bergs, you're about 70 yourself.
Actually, they loved him out on the wire. He was very respectful to my family when he wasn't on YouTube.
It's okay? Huh.
Yeah. How much did coming on YouTube change?
Yeah, if you like brothels and prostitutes, it's okay. Yeah, if you like brothels and you like prostitutes, then it's fine. It is. I wouldn't want to go there for any other reason, though, frankly. I don't think I would really like Tijuana at the end of it all, honestly. Unless you like cheap brothels. Yeah. Like the three things: cheap rent, cheap brothels, cheap hookers, and cheap food, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're all set in Mexico if you like all that stuff.
Don't get too comfortable with that place. It is still him we're talking about.
How do I do it? What do you mean, how do I do it? How do I manage to be crazy? Just because I talk and talk about things that bother me, and they all add up, and they just...
He's always looking for content or somebody to pay attention to him, so...
Right. That's what he tries to go out here and act like, he's going to have...
It might be safer than Chicago right now.
This game, and in reality, dog, it's like he just has another YouTube channel like anybody else.
I think the one thing Elvis said that was right is there are higher crime cities in America probably than Tijuana right now at the present moment.
His 1980 character. No, he's got a stupid YouTube channel like anyone else. And it's only as good as how he performs every day, and guess what? He has not been performing at any amazing level in a long time.
Well, it isn't
Yeah,
always
I know.
cloudy, though.
Well, everything, because he keeps doing the same shit, and that's how he's losing all his fucking channels.
Oh, Berg says the best rapper is Vinny Paz. Who's Vinny Paz? He comes from Boston and he destroys Eminem. A Boston rapper by the name of Vinny Paz? What?
Right, and he thinks that he's going to go out here and become a
This is my facial hair progression. Like, some of it's getting eliminated little by little. It's taking a long time, but some of it's getting
And then he
eliminated.
tried turning me against Punky by telling me, oh, she was so flirty.
You got some spots in there and stuff.
If she was or not. But I highly
Does anyone
doubt it.
notice? Let me ask everyone here. Does anyone notice a reduction in any of my facial hair, like slowly reducing, kind of? Like right in here, I don't know. I'm just trying to get an idea. Does it look like some of it is actually reducing? Getting thinner, maybe? As I'm going? Maybe like in here. You notice that, huh? Yeah, well, it seems smoother to shave, too. Like right up in here. It's taking a while up here, but... And by the way, I pull my nose hairs right out. You see, look. Look at that, look. Ah. Ah. You rip them off, yeah. So it seems like it's a pretty good reduction then, for the most part. Up here too, it's like kind of. All right. I just wanted opinions on it, kind of. Karen Black, a retired sheriff. Who was that one who was a sheriff or something? She was a border patrol woman in Arizona. Lane Lawless. Do you remember that name, Lane Lawless? But she should have made it to the bottom of YouTube, actually. I'm surprised Lane Lawless has not made it to the bottom of YouTube. I bet you they'd like her, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they think she's a character for sure? Lane Lawless. And they should have put JT Reddy should have been in the Boyd, actually. He should have went to the Boyd. Who else? John Allen Martinson should have went to the Boyd also. I'm surprised John Allen Martinson hasn't made his way down here, to be honest with you. I'm surprised that John Allen Martinson has not made his way down here. I'm surprised Sidney Knapp didn't fully get into the Boyd either. There's some people who could have been some good additions that I didn't manage to bring in. That maybe they would have been good additions. Of course it's live. What do you think? What do you think it is? Huh? Your real name is Randy, okay. My arms are getting reductions in hair, though, for sure. My arm is getting very thin over here. Kara Black is a lady friend of 14 years, huh? I got you. Alright. What else do you have to add right now? I'm thinking of shutting it down soon. Gas is $5. Where is it $5 right now? What are gas prices right now? I didn't go out today, so I don't know if it's spiked right now. $5 in California, probably. Today's average is $4 for gas. Oregon is up to $4.46. Nebraska's at $3.70. They're probably one of the cheapest for gas right now. Florida is at $3.95. Delaware $4. District of Columbia. California is the highest. In Washington State, California is the highest. 5 in California. Yes, I'm trans. Have you been following my channels, Chupacabra? You haven't been following my channel, apparently. Illinois is cheaper, actually. Oh, alright, well. Who's the cheapest? South Carolina is $3.821. Oklahoma is pretty damn cheap. North Dakota. Missouri is cheap. $3.59. California's highest, though. Hey, you know what? You know what surprises me, Karen's old man? Tasha had the opportunity to move west and never come back, right? But Tasha chose to go to California again. I'm starting to think Tasha should have stayed in California. I'm really thinking that. I think that decision will be regretted, actually. Especially if you live in an RV. You got it made in California if you can live in an RV. Let's be real. You just threw that away, you know? Missouri is kind of southern, yes, exactly. Missouri's like southern and northern, both. It's like Midwest and southern. I don't think Missouri would be that great to live in, honestly. Do you see Missouri as any bit a desirable place to be? I really don't. I don't think Missouri's really that good. I mean, judging by the cities, I wouldn't want to live in the city. I wouldn't want St. Louis or Kansas City over there, really. Honestly. Where else can you go if you're not living there? Springfield? Heard that place wasn't that good at all. That's what I heard about Springfield. It wasn't really that good of a place. What else? Anything? About to shut it down. Anything else today? Let's move across the country. Okay. It is exhausting to move across country, it is. If I go all the way across again, I'm doing it slowly, is what I'm doing. I'm doing it slowly, if I'm doing it. Alright. Alright, talk to you later. Thanks for the chat.